Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I'm going to talk about what it means to have your Venus inconjunct or quincunx to someone's Venus in Synastry, the not so minor aspect if you ask me. Um, so let's talk about this because this is different than the square in the way that it manifests. It's not so upfront when your Venus is inconjunct to someone's Venus in Synastry. It's not something you're going to notice really right away. And there is one inconjunct that I feel like actually works out to be compatible, and I'll tell you guys which one just right off the bat. I won't leave you hanging, but it does seem to be that Aries Venus and Scorpio Venus have more in common than the others, and you might not notice as much the Venus differences, although you'll still notice a bit because they are still different. But I guess just with Aries being ruled by Mars and Scorpio's natural rulership of Mars, they tend to be more similar. It's less annoying. Still a little bit annoying, less annoying. Okay, so when Venus, our love nature, our heart, how we express our affection, what we find pleasurable, what we value, how we spend money, how we love in the most basic sense is making this awkward inconjunct aspect to someone else's Venus. We can be very attracted to them while at the same time feeling like we've met this mysterious person who we don't feel that similar to. So, this is an aspect of being attracted to someone in the ways that you're different rather than the ways that you're similar. This is not enough to make a relationship incompatible. It's a minor irritation that's going on under the surface. Now, you might at times feel like when you share your heart with this person, it's not received, or there's this subtle undercurrent of tension and feeling like insecure. This is the difference between the square and the inconjunct, is that the inconjunct makes you a lot more insecure in a relationship or in your natal, I feel like. Not that a square doesn't make you feel insecure, but the square, I feel like, puts you in a more fight or flight energy, or like it's like two people butting heads, where the inconjunct is more minor, that we're just kind of like, there's something weird about this person. I don't know what it is, and it's just making me feel slightly insecure, but I'm not quite sure what it is, so I don't quite have the energy to fight about it. So the inconjunct can lead to more problems down the line in Synastry because it's more inward, it's more introverted, it's more inner tension. At least in my experience, that's how I experience it. So with Venus inconjunct to Venus, this is going on underneath other things that are going on, right? But you will notice over time that the way you express your heart, the way you love, the way you spend money, the way it could even be like you might just find them to be not physically attractive. Over time, like there's something about the way that they are socially, the way that they dress, or, you know, these kind of Venus things that is just off-putting over time, and you might not notice right away. It might be something that you notice down the line. With the inconjunct is just that, oh, like I don't prefer that way of being. That's kind of what it is. It's like, well, in my Venus, this is my sort of more selfish energy of what I find pleasurable and what I don't. And, the way that you act is just sort of off putting, and I just don't really prefer it. But it's not enough to annoy me. It's not like, my Mars is activated and I'm pissed at you. It's just, oh, I find you a bit gross. Or, it's just a little bit, that's not my style, right? And it could be as simple as there's a few things this person does, and over time you just say, you know what, that's not my style. Or you go and do that, and I'm going to do this, what I prefer. All of this, with the exception of Aries and Scorpio Venus, can sometimes seem to like to do the same things and be similar in Venus senses. It's very interesting. Now, but they're not totally exempt from this awkwardness though, because the way that Aries Venus expresses their love can really piss off Scorpio Venus, who's a lot more internal, a lot more emotional. But as far as like the pleasures and tastes, and even musically, like Venus can be these more superficial interests. Um, Aries and Scorpio Venus seem to be more alike than other inconjunct Venuses. That's why I wanted to make this video, because it's just an interesting manifestation. But yeah, there's still going to be the differences in how they express love and how they express their heart. And there's still going to be, at some times, someone feeling like not heard. And so I talked about this in the square aspect of Venus to Venus. The same thing can kind of go on here with the inconjunct, where the way that someone expresses their love language, is going to be different than yours, right? This is like, that book, The Five Love Languages. Well, I think there's actually 12, right? Of course, people who know astrology, we know that there's actually 12 love languages. There's the 12 languages of Venus, right? The different signs of Venus. But, obviously, fire sign Venuses are very similar as with air sign. You could kind of do it by element. So, okay, there's 4. But anyways, yeah, so with this inconjunct, you're just, the inconjunct aspect is like, you have less in common than the square, right? Because with the square, you're still sharing the same, like it's still going to be, you're still more similar, right? But with the inconjunct, you really have nothing like in common here. So it can be that you're with someone who is like an alien, or like someone you just don't understand at times. But depending on the rest of the synastry, if other things are good, maybe you still like them, and maybe you still love them. And this can be just a very minor thing, but it is important to note. And it is like, it's easier to have a love relationship when you have compatible Venuses. It really is. And I think that, sometimes we get so caught up in Pluto synastry or Neptune synastry or something, and we get these kind of contacts, and we've got, maybe some other good stuff going on, but on a very basic level, we have too many hard aspects between our personal planets. And this one, if you have already a tough synastry and you have this aspect, sometimes you just got to ask yourself, like, do we really have enough in common? Like, is this a big thing, or is it just a little thing? Because if the rest of the synastry is great, and like, obviously there's always challenges, maybe this is just a minor thing, but like, it is hard to love someone who loves very different than you. And you just have to be aware that at times you're gonna feel unheard, or maybe even unloved. So if you're able to fill up your own cup and have your separate interests, and understand the way that this person loves is different than you, study their Venus placement a whole bunch, this can be nothing, right? But there's a lot of delusional people out there, and sometimes you got to look at the synastry, and if the majority of it is hard aspects and incompatibilities and differences, like, what are you doing, right? So that's my advice. That's what I've learned over the years. Anyways, I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. Was it like this? Was it not like this? Okay, thanks for watching, you guys.